Hi there, hope you're well. Sometimes you just get a hinge that goes bad, and when it does, it's usually, almost always anyway, in an older melamine face cabinet or veneered carcass like this one. Maybe it's one that you inherited when you bought a property, and it's usually the hinge plate fixings that have been either poorly fitted or perhaps over tightened, or maybe they're just old and over time they've chewed up the carcass material and they just don't hold anymore. Well, fortunately it's a relatively easy fix, and in this video I'm going to show you two ways to do this. One of them is butt ugly, but it is quick, easy and cheap, and the other one, the one I'm going to start with, well, that's a little bit more elegant and it's almost invisible once completed. Now, the first thing we have to do is figure out where the heck the hinge plate should be, and if it's ripped out of the cabinet completely, you might need to use a packer or spacer of some kind to get the door back into position. Now, because this is a melamine board, I'm just going to put a pencil mark around the hinge plate, as I know it'll clean off easily, but if you have a veneered board, you might want to use a piece of tape that'll pull off cleanly afterwards. With a position marked, we can unclip the door from the hinges, put it to one side and have a proper look at what's going on here. So we can see where the original fixings have failed. Sometimes you can extend the life a little bit by using a fatter screw, but I think we're a little bit beyond that here. So we're going to drill out these holes and glue in a dowel. Now, you don't need any fancy equipment for this. Dowels are very cheap and widely available. I paid just a couple of pounds for this bag of 100 dowels locally, or you may well have a few knocking around that came as spares from the last little bit of flat pack that you put together. You'll also need a drill and a bit that's the right size for your dowels. I'm using 8mm for this one, as the damage in the carcass isn't too bad, though dowels come in 6, 8, 10 and 12mm as standard, and obviously you should use one that's an appropriate size for your cabinet. One thing I would recommend is a depth collar or depth stop to go on your drill bit. When you're drilling into an existing hole like this, it's very easy for the bit to suddenly bite, and that can catch out even the most experienced of woodworkers, and you really don't want to be punching a hole all the way through the side of your cabinet or wardrobe, because that will turn it into a much longer repair. Again, these depth stops are widely available, not at all expensive. I got these as part of a doweling jig set, and there are links in the video description to that and to everything else that I'm using today. So with the depth stop fitted, we can drill out the fixing holes. And then glue in the dowels. I'm using a fast grab PVA glue here, and note that I'm using a block of scrap wood on the outside face of the cabinet to avoid any marks or indentations from the dowel. Again, you don't want to be punching that dowel all the way through the other side. Now, while the glue sets, let's talk about saws. Fairly obviously, we need to cut these dowels down flush with the cabinet, and if you've got one, then a flush cut saw is ideal for this, as they're made specifically for the task. If you don't know, then most normal saws have teeth that are offset slightly like this, and this set, as it's called on the teeth, means that they'll scratch the surface when they're laid flat on the material. The teeth on a flush cut saws don't have that set, they're completely straight, so they can be used flush, obviously, against the surface without scratching. Now, I don't have one of those, but what I do have are some tiny saw blades for an X-Acto knife handle, and they don't have a set to them, so they'll be pretty good as well. Otherwise, I'll just use a small pull saw and I'll cover the carcass with tape just to protect it a little. So with the glue fully set, we can carefully cut the dowels off as close to the face of the board as we can. I'm doing this dowel with the X-Acto blade. And this one with a pull saw. Notice how I'm using the spine of the blade to bear against the carcass, lifting the teeth off the surface very slightly. The dowels don't have to be perfectly flush with the surface, as these pressed steel hinge plates sit away from the face very slightly. Then, with the tape removed, we can offer up the hinge plate against our pencil or tape marks from earlier, mark the centres for the screws, drill out the pilot holes, and then screw the hinge plate back in place. Remember, if you're using bloom hinges, the little arrow on the hinge plate faces outwards. With everything fixed back securely, we can rehang the door. This should just be a matter of re-clipping the hinges onto the plates. But if things have moved a little, it's easy to tweak the position of the hinge with a built-in adjustment. Now that's the quality repair. It's the same hinge, the same cabinet. It's just a small, near invisible repair and refit of the door. But you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, I don't have time to mess around with drills and dowels and glue, and anyway it's in a rental or maybe it's student accommodation. You just want a quick and dirty fix, in which case you need one of these. These are hinge repair plates, and they're designed to fit over the damaged part of the carcass and let you attach the hinge plate directly to them. In fact, let's fit one quickly on the bottom hinge here. The best way I've found to fit these is to keep the hinge and hinge plate complete and simply unscrew the whole assembly from the carcass. Then attach the hinge plate to the repair plate with the supplied screws. Then position the repair plate. The screws poking out of the back should line up with the old holes, and then fix the repair plate onto the carcass with the screws that came with. And as before, if there's any slight change in alignment, you can use the built-in adjustment on these Euro hinges to bring everything back to where it was. So there you go, that's the hidden repair and the quick and dirty repair. To be fair, you only see the repair plate when the door is open, and if that doesn't bother you, maybe as I mentioned earlier, it's for a rental or a student property and you just need the door fixed now, then it's certainly a quick, easy and very cost-effective way of extending the life of the cabinet. That's it for this week's shorter video though. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it useful. If you did, then give the video a thumbs up, share it freely, and do consider subscribing for more weekly workshop videos, or come and join the Patreon party at patreon.com/10-minute workshop for additional exclusive content or behind the scenes videos. And I'd like to thank all the folks who do just that, as their contributions really do help me to keep the lights on here and make it possible for me to make regular, freely available content like this for the 10-minute workshop channel. That really is it for this week though. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Hi there, hope you're well. You know, sometimes you just get a hinge that goes bad, and when you do, it's almost always in an older melamine faced or veneered cabinet or carcass like this one that maybe you inherited when you bought a property. And it's usually the hinge plate fixings that have either been poorly fitted or perhaps over tightened. What the f is going on out there? So there we are, that's the hidden repair, the elegant repair. So there you go, that's the hidden repair, the elegant repair, and the quick and dirty repair. To be fair, you only see the repair plate when the door is actually open, so it's not... So there you go, that's the hidden repair and the quick and dirty repair. To be fair, you only see the repair plate when the hinge... Start again.